Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth, power without fear. So as you all know, there are issues that I agree with Umar Johnson on, and there are issues that I disagree with him on. One of the issues that I agree with him on is this whole issue of interracial relationships. So today, Roland Martin had Umar Johnson on his program, and I was listening to it while I was working. And I just want to take time to share my response and just share my thoughts about this issue. So this is what Umar Johnson said. He said, the black family is under attack. He said, your greatest commitment to black people is being committed to a black woman. And he's talked about the problem in the black community, the destruction of the black family. He talked about the number of unwed black women and this whole issue of single parent households and all that kind of stuff. And he talked about how he can't respect a black man who marries a non-black woman. So in response to that, Roland Martin basically cited some examples of black men who were involved in the civil rights struggle, but who happened to marry white women, as if to suggest that because of what they had done in civil rights movement, that somehow that's like a trump card, and somehow these men have to be respected and all that kind of stuff, and somehow that undermines Umar Johnson's opposition to interracial marriage. So I just want to share my views on that, and then later I'll talk about some of the things that his other guests said. But in response to that, you know, I appreciate anyone who has been involved in the civil rights struggle. You know, I appreciate their contribution. But let's be honest. I mean, some of these people who marry white women and who are involved in the civil rights struggle, as Umar Johnson said, you know, some of these people literally want to be white. They want to be treated white. They want to be honorary white people. And one way of expressing that desire is marrying a white woman. And there's no contradiction between somebody wanting to be white and somebody being involved in the civil rights struggle. Because for some of the people who were involved in the civil rights struggle, they were fighting for acceptance from white society. They were fighting their way into white society. They were fighting for integration. They were fighting for assimilation in some cases. They were fighting to be honorary white people, some of these people. So it is no surprise that they would be desiring to be with a white woman. That's no surprise. That's no shocker or anything. Because even if someone is involved in the civil rights struggle, that does not exempt them from manifesting self-hatred. That doesn't exempt them. And while I can appreciate their commitment to the struggle, that still has to be called out. This whole self-hatred issue that we deal with in the black community, that goes back to that test. I've cited it over and over again. The test of the black doll and the white doll, where the people are, when they're asked about which one is the beautiful doll, they point to the white one. When they're asked about which one is the ugly doll, they point to the black one. And just because somebody has been involved in the civil rights struggle, that doesn't mean that they are exempt from that programming that teaches people to idolize whiteness. And, you know, I just find it to be sickening how much people are so enamored with whiteness, so in love with whiteness, that they would tear down their own brother for expressing black love, for expressing the desire for black men to be with black women, for speaking about the need to protect the black family. I think that reflects the pathology and the psychosis and self-hatred that so many of our people suffer from. That's what it reflects. You know, you had these women, this woman on this program, And that's a blogger that I respect. I like some of her work, but this sister was disrespectful. This sister was out of line and out of order, talking over this brother simply because this brother said that black men should be with black women. And you would think that a black woman, an educated black woman, would be happy to hear a brother talk about black men being with black women. But no, this sister had to challenge him. And you had this other guy, this Republican guy, this black Republican, go as far as to call this brother, Umar Johnson, a liar. Call him a liar. And Umar Johnson basically told him, he put him in check. He said, you're not going to disrespect me like that. And then he went on to call that brother, that black Republican, a coon, which he is. And Roland Martin, in response to that, Roland Martin said, well, nobody's using any racial slurs on my program. And Roland Martin got upset. And I understand that. You know, I understand people being opposed to the use of racial slurs. I get that. But Roland Martin did not express the same kind of outrage when his guest called Umar Johnson a liar. He didn't express that same kind of outrage when his guests were out of order, talking over this brother, interrupting this brother. And I think that that's just wrong, man. I think that as a moderator, as the host of a program, he should have had more control of that program. He shouldn't have allowed things to get out of order like that. So, I mean, one thing that's really disappointing is it doesn't even matter if somebody is on the right or the left, or they're Democrat or Republican. Many black people have been programmed to go out of their way to defend white people because these people are in love with white people. They worship white people. And they will do anything to protect their white daddy and their white mama. And it's a damn shame, man. You would think that black people would love the idea of black love. Love the idea of black men seeking out black women, especially in light of the fact that you have so many black male celebrities that pursue these white women, that choose non-black women. That's what you would think. But they were attacking this brother. And one thing that I want to point out is this, you know, one weak point in Umar Johnson's presentation is this, you know, not acknowledging that there are white people who have been a part of the fight against systemic racism. You know, I think that sets him up because it makes it seem as if he's not correct, you know, because he's wrong on that issue. I mean, there are white people who have fought against systemic racism, and as one of the guests pointed out, you know, passage of the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act, those are examples of white people actually doing something to fight against systemic racism, and you know, the civil rights workers, etc., who died for civil rights and all that kind of stuff. So I get that point, and you know, I just think that Umar Johnson, he could have acknowledged that point but still stuck to his main point. The fact that you have some white people who fought for civil rights and all that kind of stuff, that doesn't undermine the argument that black men should be with black women and black women should be with black men. It doesn't undermine that argument at all, especially at a time when you have people complaining about the lack of marriageable black men, when you have all these single parent households, like I think it's like 70-something% that you hear people cite. That should be a top priority. Addressing the collapse of the black family should be a top priority. When you look at how this interracial marriage issue contributes to this problem of colorism in our community, you would think that people would see the importance of black love, of black family, of black men being with black women. But oh no, the programmed and brainwashed Negro is so outraged about this. They are more outraged about the idea of black love than they are about police brutality, than they are about blatant racism. And I just find that to be repulsive.